Hey guys, today I want to show you how you can emulate 5 of Slipknot's iconic guitar sounds. These guys have always experimented a lot with effects. Slipknot is much more than just the crazy loud band a lot of people see them as. All throughout their career, they've been kind of hiding these incredibly experimental sounds in these big metal tracks, and no one else can sound like this band. No other band has those Slipknot vibes. So how are they doing it? Let's jump in. And for the first one, let's do the intro from Disasterpiece. So I'm starting with a standard high gain tone. We'll talk about amps and stuff in a minute, but this one is going to be mainly about the effects. And when I was a kid, I spent so long trying to figure out how to play this, and I remember I eventually found some tabs that said it was like harmonics, and I was like, oh, I guess that's it. It doesn't sound as good when I do it, but then eventually I saw Mick playing it on stage and realized it's actually something like this. So how we turn that into the Disasterpiece tone is, first of all, we need some modulation in front of the amp, and I'm getting closest to the tone by using a flanger. Mick would have been using a pedal, of course. I'm just going to use the stock flanger affecting Cubase, and we want this pretty intense. I want to start by making this kind of slow. We don't really want to hear it cycling, like wow, wow, wow. That's nice and slow, and we want a lot of feedback. So it gets really noisy in that high kind of harmonic region. Maybe bring the mix down a little. Maybe a slightly higher range. So slightly extreme settings there on the flanger, but we're starting to get somewhere now. And the next thing is this tone feels kind of filtered to me, and I imagine that's because they have a wah pedal just set in place. So again, we'll use the stock wah in Cubase, and we might want this a little bit high. Maybe not that high. So listen for those weird ringing high frequencies. That's what we're trying to emphasize here with the wah. That sounds like the sweet spot to me. We're getting the frequencies we want from this, so now we need to run all of that high harmonic information into a distortion. This just needs to sound more nasty, more messed up. Let's just try the MT2 by Brainworks. This was a popular pedal in the 2000s and definitely capable of insane levels of distortion. Let's try it. There you go, guys, that's Disasterpiece, and fun fact, this tone was also used on the track Skin Ticket on the same album. Okay, next let's do Prosthetics. This might be my favorite of the weirder Slipknot tones, and also probably the hardest one to emulate. And another sound that as a kid, I just wondered what this was. Like, I thought Sid was doing some crazy stuff until I saw them playing it live on guitar. And again, we're gonna just start with a standard metal tone. We'll talk about amps in the next tone, and this one's just going to be all about the effects again. So we're starting with that. From there, here's what we want to do. So firstly, I have this panned all the way to the right, because that's how it is in the track. And we want to pitch this down 1 octave. So I'm going to use the free KHS shifter, 12 semitones, so we get... Already that's starting to sound right. And let's just blend in some of that original signal with the low octave. Yeah, I think we want it about there. Okay, so that's before the amp, and from there we just want to put a ton of effects after the amp, starting with a ring modulator. Again, I'm just going to use the stock ring mod in Cubase, and if you're not familiar with ring modulators, don't worry, we're not going to get into like all the crazy stuff. We basically just need to find the right frequency here. So this is what's going to give the guitar that like weird alien, almost synth-like sound. Somewhere like that is where we want it. After that, we still need a few more effects, starting with a chorus. I'm going to use Multiply. Sounds good on the default setting to me, and let's add just a little bit of the flanger as well. I feel like I can hear that in there, so let's dial this up. Yep, about there. So that's all the crazy modulation effects. Now we just need two more things, and they're both going to be delays doing different jobs. The first is going to be like a really quick, unnatural slapback delay that is going to take that alien vibe even further. Let's try like 25 milliseconds. Yeah, you can hear how that makes this sound like it's in an even weirder space. And after that weirder delay sound, we want the more conventional kind of echo sound for the second delay. So maybe around, yeah, 400. Not too much. Yeah, like not too much high end as well. Something like this. And that's Prosthetics. Okay, and for the third tone, I want to focus on kind of the standard Slipknot tone that we've heard all throughout their existence, maybe leaning slightly more to the Ross Robinson era, self-titled and Iowa. And you may think it's just a standard high gain tone, and it kind of is, but if you want to get it bang on, Slipknot's tone is actually a really difficult one to nail, especially with amp sims, but even with real amps, it's just such a specific sound. It's so razor sharp and crisp, but not digital or fizzy at all, and it's, you know, still real and organic sounding. That's a very, very difficult balance to achieve, and I have tried all the neural stuff and mixed wave, all the go-to amps that I use. I've tried so many amp sims and IRs, and I've never found anything that really captures that Slipknot vibe for me. And this is not an ad or a sponsored video. I have no connection with this company at all. I just found these amp sims and they sound exactly like Slipknot to me. So I have this 5150 on the left and then this amp called Sigma on the right, and these are both by Audio Assault. And like I said, these guys didn't send me these. They didn't ask me to do this video. This is purely me just showing you some plugins I found. They cost me $5 each and I've barely even tweaked the settings. Listen how good these sound. So right out of the box, those two amps do it for me. They have the sound I'm looking for, but to just make this a little more Ross Robinson flavored, I know he likes to run everything through analog gear to get that gritty vintage saturation. So I'm going to put that Ampex tape machine after both of these tones. And let's just add a little bit of saturation from Decapitator as well. I love the sound of this thing. So now this should really have that Ross Robinson sound. So that's a more simple one. Usually I give you guys a whole deep dive on how to get whatever tone we're going for, but with that Slipknot tone, it is kind of just a case of finding the right amp with the right characteristics and maybe just taking it further with a little bit of that analog Ross Robinson magic. So that's that one. Next, I want to do one that you may not have even noticed before, but in the verse of Kuster, there's this really weird tremolo sound going on. The thing with this tone is it's not actually tremolo picked, it's a tremolo effect.
Whenever I see a gun, I think about just how petty you are, and that's my fucking mind.
So let me just take the 5150 and put it in the center. And this is a really simple one. I'm using this amp for all the other tones, by the way, so when I started with the amp, it was this one every time. So let's just again load up the stock tremolo in Cubase. And the key with this is that we want the depth at 100%, so it's fully cutting the signal and then coming back in. Let's sync it. And we want this really, really fast, like 16th note triplets or maybe 30-second notes. Let's try 30-second. There you go. It's another simple one, but a super weird tone that definitely makes the verse of Kuster feel more intense and weird. Okay, and lastly, we of course have to do surfacing, another one that confused me for years as a kid, and I remember as a kid seeing this video of Mick explaining what he was doing, and I had no idea what any of it meant.
The opening line in surfacing, I use a pitch shifter, one note shifted up 1 octave, another note shifted up 2 octaves, original note mixed out, a little bit of digital delay, a little bit of reverb, then some really disgusting digital distortion to make it sound like shit. Here's actually how it's performed.
So So what he's saying here is he's using some kind of pitch shifter. I'm guessing something like a Digitech IPS, and he's pitching it up 1 octave with one channel and 2 octaves with another and kind of blending those together. And he says the original signal mixed out. So he means there's no original signal in there. It's all pitched up. So this time I'm actually starting with the Fortin Kelly. You could use kind of any high gain amp for this tone, but for me, this just sounded closest out of everything I have. Still very far away for now though. Okay, so first of all, let's bring up the pitch shifter again and we'll go for 12 semitones, 1 octave. So that's the first shift. That's already getting somewhere. And from there, we want to introduce a second shifter after that and put that 1 octave up. And then we're going to blend that maybe halfway. That sounds about right to me. So we have the first pitch shifter moving everything up 1 octave, and then this one is taking that pitch shifted tone and moving it another octave up. But we only have this at 33%. So 33% 2 octaves up and 67% 1 octave up. Kind of crazy stuff for them to be doing in 99, but they must have had some crazy gear on their hands. Okay, and after that, Mick said a little bit of digital delay, a little bit of reverb. So let's try that. Okay, that's 2 slap back. Yeah, around there. Too much high end in that. Too much low end probably. Yeah, that's about right. Okay, and let's try some stock reverb. That's definitely too much. And let's make it a little more high end and just pull down the mix. There we go, that sounds good to me. Okay, and lastly, Mick said he uses digital distortion.
To make it sound like shit.
I don't know if that means he put the distortion after the delay and reverb, but I found I got closer putting it in front. So this is Destroyer in Cubase, a digital distortion, and let's just whack up some distortion on this. And I can't help myself, I know Ross Robinson will have put this through some tape, so use the Ampex again. Okay, that's sounding super close now, but I'm still hearing one thing missing, and Mick didn't mention wah at all, but I feel like I'm hearing a wah sweeping up every measure, like wow, wow. Maybe it's a characteristic of the amp they used or something, but for me, I feel like we're gonna get closer if we put a wah pedal in front of the amp and automate it. So let's use the Cubase wah again, and I'm gonna just sweep this up so we get this like wow at the start of every time I'm playing it. Let's copy it. I think that's going to be the only missing piece. Let's try it. There you have it, guys. That's surfacing, and with that, that's 5 iconic Slipknot tones broken down and reconstructed. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please hit the like if you did, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And I'm thinking about doing a full Slipknot track remake on the channel, so let me know below if that's something you'd want to see, and let me know what track you'd want to see, because I have way too many ideas for Slipknot. Alright, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.